it made them get up to speed so much faster. Like it's like they knew who we were without having to like be thrown into the fire.
Right.
It allowed me to have like a choreography to bringing them on board. I was like, let me just walk you through this thing. And like, you're going to get who we are and what we do by the end of it. And all these other things that I'm going to throw at you, like, are going to fit into place once you know this.
All right. Hey, everyone. Ree Perez here, CEO, founder, Branding for the People. And today's interview, we're joined with Greg Hickman of Alt Agency. Greg, welcome, man.
Thanks for having me, Ree. Pleasure to be here.
All right. So I'm doing these interviews to sort of revisit with clients who've gone through our process, who we've branded or in some shape or form, and kind of check in, you know, what was that like for them and where are they at now, sort of thing. All right. So Greg, how did we get to know each other?
I'm pretty sure we met at an event through a mutual friend.
Yeah. And then
I don't remember which event.
But clearly
it would have been in California. Traffic and conversion.
Was it traffic? Okay.
It's traffic and conversion.
So clearly we made an impression on one another and we stayed in contact.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to ask you, what was the problem that you had? So I just introduced you as Greg Hickman of Alt Agency, but you came to me with a different company name. Why don't you tell people your old company name and what was the problem that you were trying to solve prior to branding?
Yeah. So originally the company was called Systemly. And, you know, we started out as a small boutique agency building out sales funnels and doing marketing automation for online course creators. And at the time I knew that we were like more than just like a funnel. So I didn't like, it was bigger than just like naming our company funnel, whatever, or even automation, whatever. And so we kind of ended up with Systemly. There was no process to how we got there and we grew. And over time, we really transformed from a service shop into a coaching and training business. And we kind of like just kept getting clearer and clearer on what we did and who we served and how we did it. But how we showed up in the world never really, like, that was all in like fulfillment and internal, nothing external, like connected, like all of what we were actually doing. Like when it boiled up to the word Systemly, there just felt like there was this gap and like it was disconnected. And it felt that way for a while. But I didn't get hung up on it because we were just growing and we were continuing to evolve. And I didn't want to try to rebrand or rename ourselves too soon because we were just rapidly evolving. But we reached a point where I felt like, you know, for me personally, I had trouble. I had my own issues with being able to like see where this could go and what this could like where we could take this thing, because like I couldn't see that because it felt disconnected and like something felt incomplete. And I knew that I couldn't personally, whether this was my own story or in my own head, it was preventing me from like actually moving forward confidently.
Specifically the name, right? Like the name wasn't.
Specifically to the name of the company. And, you know, we have a bunch of mutual friends and you had worked with a friend of mine, Brent, and I had asked, you know, he made a comment that he worked with you on his rebrand. And so I was like, oh, I should totally talk to Ree. And then when I reached out to you, you know, it was really just about the name of the company. And
that's right. That's right.
Because that's all I cared about was the name. Like I didn't even know I had a branding problem. I just was like, the name is wrong. It doesn't align with what we do. And you like kind of slowed me down and obviously asked a bunch of great questions to the point where, you know, I ended up coming and signing up for your workshop. And what's amazing about you and your process, like you even said, like the process isn't meant to give you the name. but you'll know that the name is right or wrong by going through the process.
Yeah.
Um, and you obviously then went on to explain like the extended value of going through the process beyond just
Yeah.
me having a name, and
Yeah.
all of those things made complete sense. And very much thankful for the entire process. We used the materials you gave us as recent as yesterday, like in
That's
training and
awesome.
onboarding our team. Like, here's who we are. So, you said it would help me kind of get clarity on like what even direction we should go with a name, and
Yeah.
everything lived up to that. And left the 2-day workshop. Oh, it was actually really funny. Was I came up with the name before attending, and I was like, "Can I tell you?" And you said, "No, I want to go through the process first. I
That's
want you to
right.
go through the process first. The process will tell us if it's the right name." And so I waited the whole 2 day, like went through the 2-day experience,
Good.
and boom, like I'm like, "Can I tell you now?" And you were like, "I like it." And obviously that name was Alt Agency as you introduced me. And I mean, everything kind of fell into place after that.
Thanks for reminding me about that whole process, because I was really intentional about you not clouding my thinking. I was like, let's go through the process, and then let's see. We'll both make some decisions, see if it's on brand for you. So
Yeah, and I took you down that little tangent because I'm guessing that, and because I'm guessing there's a lot of other people like me that like think they just want a name, or maybe they want something
yeah,
else. And like this piece, like, I mean, from customer personas and avatars and how we sound and show up, like all of that came out of your
yeah,
process that, you know, impacts everything we do,
yeah.
beyond just the name. So, if there's someone out there thinking that like, oh, I just need a name, like this will still help you.
Yeah. All right, so you were alluding to this earlier. So we have a process called the branding intensive, and that's sort of our signature methodology of sort of uncovering all the different layers of a brand. Was there something about that process that made it effective for someone like you, or that would make it effective for other businesses?
Yeah. Well, one, I'm like a very systems like framework brain.
Yeah,
We turn all of our stuff into frameworks. So like, I just geeked out on being inside of like the process and seeing
of all the
how you
frameworks
did
that we
it.
had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that being said, I mean, like very much of how you've codified your process, um, so much so that you can walk someone through it, and it like whether it felt sequential or not to me in the time in the moment, like you were leading me down a specific path,
yeah,
and like every time we stopped, like it just everything just made sense, and like you saw it building on top of each other. You also kind of previewed what we were going to be working on.
yeah,
Um, so you kind of I had an idea of where we were going. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, I think from like the practicality of it, it's like I could see how anyone could go through, like with the proper guidance
yeah,
through that workbook, through that, through your framework, like the worksheets and the things that we were filling out along the way. I can't
yeah,
see how someone wouldn't get the value, right? Or came or get what they came for, like there's just so much like I have all this stuff in my quiver. It's not like one of those things is like, oh, it's in my brain and now like
yeah,
it's a thing that I know moving forward. It's like I later went to uh you know I had a logo designer that I really wanted to work with,
yeah,
and I know you offer a lot of these different services, which is also super valuable. So like the fact that you can take that and take it to the next level is really great. But I actually also think it's really valuable for someone like me who maybe is bringing some of the creative skills
that's right.
to the table. Like I could use my own web designer, I can use my own logo
Yeah,
designer, and like it still works. And when I gave that document to the logo designer, like who, by the way, not to like hype it up or anything, like I mean, he works for VaynerMedia. Like he did the VaynerX logo. He's done like significant logos. He was
yeah,
like, I wish every client gave me something like this when I was starting a logo. He's like, it makes my life so much easier.
yeah,
We gave it to the web team, same thing. And it's like, it's this tool that like anyone that's going to do any sort of creative, copy, anything for us, you give them this thing and they are out of the gates more well equipped than without it. And so every time we onboard someone, they watch a video of me walking them through that document, and I walk, new hire onboarding. Like, it's been used time and time and time again, and will continue to be used. And that was just like, as you start seeing it and you kept pointing out like, oh, like, well, yeah, you're just going to want to show this to them. And like, oh, like all of the application of this thing is just like right in front of you. And you see how much time you would have been wasted, if you didn't have it. Like all the back and forth nonsense, ridiculous.
Trying to re-explain and explain.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks for saying that. No, it's really good because it warms my heart to hear that you continue to use it, that it didn't just stay, you came to Austin and we did this in person, but it didn't stay in that session, that you actually took it, applied it, adapted it, integrated it. And that's, to me, that's really where it's at. You can hire anyone to help with any aspect of your business, but if you're not integrating it, like, what's the point? So,
yeah.
All right, so talk to me
it's
about
one of those frequently used and starred items in our Google Drive folder.
Nice.